Thank you, Lascan Corla. First of all, Minister, can I say that I'm happy to see this bill reach the floor of this House, because it is crucial that our legislation underpins and supports our modernised and vastly changed higher education system, our students who are in that system and all those who work within the system. Now, I also want to refer to the fact that yesterday we passed the Technological Universities Act, which approves the merger of GMIT, LKIT and IT Sligo to form the Atlantic Technological University, which will happen on April 1st. And Minister, just as an aside, I don't know who chose the name, but I think it's an excellent choice. This really is positive news. But in many ways, it's just a start, because now we have to put flesh on the bones. But putting the framework in place is an essential first step. And yesterday was the most important part in that process. Another plus, of course, in all of this is that all of the students who graduate this year in 2022 will graduate with university degree qualifications. Now, I'm going to come back to the Atlantic Technological University in a moment, Minister, because that's really the core issue that I want to speak about today. But I just want to raise maybe one or two other points, and perhaps I'll come back later at committee stage to refer to a few more. Now, I listened to the debate last week. I thought actually I might be speaking on Thursday, but obviously that didn't happen. It ran into today. And I remember you saying yourself that the bill does not address all the relevant issues. But I suppose one of the things it does seek to do, and the one thing I want to refer to today, is that it does seek to promote equality of access to and participation in higher education. Can I just say one thing around that, Minister, that it's really important when we speak about equality of access that we don't neglect students with disabilities or students who have care responsibilities. For many of those students, for example, they might need to access remote learning for some or part of their course. And I think, Minister, this will have to form part of the reform of the SUSI grant scheme. As I said, I know that's for another day, but access means access for all. And we definitely need targets and indicators so that we can measure how we are improving equality of access. Because, you know, if you can't measure something, then you can't really say if you're going in the right direction, never mind achieving those targets. But I believe a reforming bill, such as this one, must be accompanied by the necessary measures, not just to promote, but to ensure equality of access. But, Minister, as I said, one of the main reasons I am happy to see this bill is that it's part of the support system for setting up the TUs. There's a good regional spread between the West and the Northwest in the setting up of the Atlantic Technological University. And I believe, as I know you do and most people, that if it is properly resourced, and we have to wait and see that, but if it is, it really can act as a catalyst for better educational outcomes, economic development in the region, support for businesses, established businesses and new businesses right across the region, and crucially, it can provide world-class education and opportunities to the students who attend the Atlantic Technological University. But in the context of the TU, I want to mention the really valuable work, and I've done this before, but I want to do it again, of your predecessor, Minister, the former Minister, Mary Mitchell-O'Connor, who was absolutely determined to ensure that these TUs would be set up across the entire country. And it's great to see that you carried on her work and now they are a reality. And I suppose, Minister, it tells many of us the truth that if a minister is determined that things will happen, sometimes and very often they do. So, April 1st this year, the Atlantic Technological University will become a reality. And this bill, as I said, will help set up the necessary framework. And in that context, I want to ask a number of questions and make a number of points. But the main point I want to make relates to the incorporation of St Angela's College, Sligo, with IT Sligo, so that it can be part of the Atlantic Technological University from the very start. As you are aware, Minister, and I know you have visited there and you're a strong supporter of St Angela's is the national provider of home economics, arts degrees and home economics teacher education, as well as providing nursing health services, nursing health sciences, disability studies, education, special needs education, religious education and food, nutrition and business management courses. So, as you already know, Minister, St Angela's College will bring very significant and strategic assets to the Atlantic Technological University. Now, incorporation of St Angela's with Sligo IT commenced in May of last year, with a view to full incorporation by January 2022. And that was at this stage envisaged prior to the establishment of the Atlantic Technological University. However, the current IoT Act does not provide the adequate legislative provision for the incorporation. In fact, I believe that 2 new amendments must either be added to this bill, and I'd like clarity, and I know you'll give that in your wrap-up. I spoke to you about it earlier, either to this bill or to the IoT Act and the TU Act. So I said, if you could clarify for me what is necessary in order that we have a firm legal basis for the incorporation. Now, it's my understanding that the 2 amendments necessary are relatively simple, relatively straightforward amendments to the IoT Act and the TU Act. I think that would suffice. Now, if this is the case, I'm asking, Minister, that you would progress that immediately. If, on the other hand, we need to amend this bill, it would happen, obviously, at committee stage. Now, right now, the proposed date for the signing of the transfer agreement between St Angela's and IT Sligo is March 1st, 2022. But either this bill must be passed before that can happen with the amendments I spoke of, or the amendments to the IoT Act and the TU Act must be put in place. And I'm saying to you, Minister, that it's crucial that everything is in place before April 1st of this year, when the Atlantic TU comes into being. Now, it's my understanding, Minister, that those amendments are still not ready. Maybe they're still in your department, maybe they're still with the AG, I'm not sure. But wherever they are, Minister, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they're reasonably straightforward and that they could be progressed as soon as possible. Because if they're not, it could have, I'm not saying it will have, but there's a real possibility that it could have significant and unforeseen outcomes for the incorporation of St Angela's and Sligo IT, because after April 1st, it will no longer be Sligo IT. So I'm asking you if there is a timeline for the enactment of this bill, and if you, as Minister, and the Government will ensure that this legislation is in place in time to allow for the incorporation of St Angela's to take place before April 1st, or, as I said, the amendment to the other acts. Now, right now, to me, this is the most crucial aspect. And listening to the debate, and I listened to it last week and this evening, it seems clear to me that there's fairly broad support for this bill. There are some caveats, of course, and members of the opposition quite rightly believe improvements can be made, but there doesn't seem to be any can we say, systemic opposition to this bill. So I am asking that you, in your role, make every possible effort to ensure the timely passage of this bill. And again, I apologise for being so pedantic, but this is really important. So if it's the case that the IoT Act and the TU Act just need to be amended, I'm asking that this be done speedily. I know, Minister, you fully support the incorporation of St Angela's with Sligo IT and therefore with the Atlantic Technological University. And Minister, as I said earlier, if ministers want things done, very often they are. I think we can both agree that the new Atlantic TU, when set up with its new board and new chair, and I wish them well, but we have to accept that the incorporation of St Angela's may not be top of their agenda. They will obviously set their own agenda within the context in which they operate. And there could be a delay. 3 months could easily turn into 6 months. I'm nearly finished, Minister. I appreciate that you waited for this. It could turn into a year, and that's a real disadvantage for St Angela's or indeed any other college not involved from the start, because as you know, the start is when plans are put in place, short, medium, long-term objectives debated, and of course the issue of allocation of resources. My final point, Minister, I listened to Deputy McGuinness a few minutes ago, and he was discussing the fact that he requested, and a senior, I think he said Minister of Government or Member of Government, requested a meeting with the President of MTU, and that was refused. So it's very clear that new boards and new presidents and chairs will have their own minds. And what I don't want, Minister, is that I'm coming back to you in 3 or 6 months' time where I can do very little and I'm not sure what you can do. I am appreciative of the fact that you need to move on, so I'm going to finish now. All I'll say is it's not simple, but it is possible and it is doable. I've spoken to you. I know you support the incorporation, Minister. Timing is crucial. Thank you.